Hello, and welcome to On the Go with the Glen Advantage team once again. I am your host, Marcia Glenn, and today I have the very great pleasure of being able to be here at the Brighton Town Hall with the town supervisor, Bill Moehle.
Thanks,
So, Bill,
Marcia.
tell
Great
us a
to be
little
here.
bit about yourself.
Well, I am not a native Rochesterian, but I've been here in Brighton for 45 years. And I feel
Okay.
very fortunate. I moved here after law school. I'm a lawyer by training. And moved here, rented an apartment in Brighton, and stayed for 45 years. And I couldn't be happier. I raised three daughters who are doing wonderful things, thanks in no small part to the education in the Brighton. They actually, part of their time they were in the Brighton schools, part of their time they were in the Penfield schools, which also serve part of Brighton. So this is a great community. We talk about Brighton being a wonderful place, the whole Rochester area being a wonderful place to raise a family. I can tell you firsthand, it is a great place. Brighton is a great place to raise a family.
So you have been in Brighton for 45 years?
45 years.
Okay. How long have you been with acting town supervisor?
I've been town supervisor for over 12 years.
Okay.
And before that, I was the attorney
Oh,
for the town
okay.
for another 18 years.
So you're really familiar with Brighton
I really
and everything
am.
that happens here.
And, one of the great things about working for the town of Brighton is all the people around here. We have folks here working in town hall, from the assessor's office, the clerk's office, the public works office. They get the fact that they work for the people. So they're engaged with what's happening. They're engaged in providing services to the community. And I think it shows. The amenities that are part of the Brighton experience are a real plus.
Well, certainly I can attest to the fact that your staff, the people who are here working, I've been in and out of this particular building a number of different times and have never had anything other than an enjoyable experience with each and every person that I've ever met.
Well, that's great to hear. People stop me. This is a walking community, and I walk a lot, whether on the trails or at the market. People stop me, and I'm always pleased when I hear that, because it's what we try to do. Yes, it does.
Speaks volumes in terms of how everyone gets integrated within the community itself, and then is able to end up kind of feeding that back to the folks that they haven't met before, perhaps.
Right.
Or that they see on a daily basis.
And new people coming into the community. A couple weeks ago, the Brighton Central School District every year holds an event for new families coming into the district. And it's a great opportunity for them, not just getting to know the schools, but also getting to know our recreation department is there, so families know what their opportunities are in recreation. I get a chance to talk to new folks coming into the community. So it's people who've been here for 45 years and people who've been here for 45 days. We want them to feel at home here in Brighton.
So that was one of the questions that I had wanted to ask you today in regards to the recreation department. I know that there was a media feed that went out in terms of the pool.
Yes.
And tell me about that.
Well, we've got some really exciting news. There's a pool here at Town Hall. Frankly, it was in need of renovation. And thanks to our state delegation members, our state senator, Senator Cooney, and Assembly Member Clark, they have gotten us grant money to not only rehabilitate the pool, but we will be putting in really a complex, a small complex, a family-friendly complex with that pool, a new splash pad, and a renovated playground that will be accessible. One of the things we know is, because this is a very much of a close-knit walking community, accessibility is so important, that people with mobility issues or other issues, can feel a part of this community as much as everybody else is. So the pool will be retrofitted to be ADA compliant. The playground will have accessible features. And the splash pad, of course, is right on grade. So And then when you combine that with the fact that probably the premier family-friendly feature of Brighton, the Brighton Memorial Library, is
Right.
right here on the campus. So families are going to come here. They're going to be able to enjoy the library, the pool, the splash pad, maybe have a picnic under the new pavilion that will be going in. So we're really excited about that as one of
Plus
our new
pluses
projects.
for the community,
Absolutely.
for sure.
It's definitely a win-win.
And then along with that, Senator managed to be able to get the renovation or the movement that is going to happen in terms of where the town hall here is going to be moving to. So tell me about that.
Exactly. Senator Cooney has gotten us a grant to cover a part of the cost. This building, Town Hall, is over 70 years old. And the HVAC system, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system, is original issue. It's 70 years old too. It's been maintained, but if you spend much time here in the building, you know it really doesn't cool enough in the summer in particular. We discovered during the pandemic we didn't have the kind of filtration that newer buildings have. So we were very excited, consistent with one of our recurring threads in what we do here, making town government more sustainable. We are going to install a new geothermal-based HVAC system here
Real
at Town
estate
Hall.
point of view, that's fabulous.
It is fabulous.
That is fabulous.
It will, it'll be cheaper to operate, and it'll really, I think, extend the life of this beautiful building.
It will definitely extend the life. And I'm not sure that folks actually realize that because they're not aware of what geothermal actually can do and what it's meant to do.
Yeah.
It may be a little bit more costly to put in initially, but you're not going to be replacing things every 10 years.
Much less expensive
Right.
to operate. And so because we're going to be doing that, and that will necessitate, major renovations to the building. Buildings of this age have asbestos in them. So we're going to be doing a major asbestos remediation. But it's also an opportunity to make the building more accessible. We'll be putting ramps in the front, adding technology to the building, sprucing some things up. We're going to be adding a maintenance and facilities area in the back of the building. So we're not going to lose the classic style
Right.
of this building because it's a beautiful
Which you
building.
don't want to do.
No,
Right?
that's right. In fact,
Yeah.
we're going to restore some of the original elements of the building, but we're going to make it very much a 21st century building, and in particular in the way we heat and cool the building. But because of the magnitude of that project, we're going to be temporarily moving out. We're going to be moving to another real community asset. Keep going back to how important education is in Brighton. Empire State University, the SUNY Empire State campus, is here in Brighton, serving the Rochester regional area. It's on Westfall Road. We are going to be moving over there, actually in November, and we expect to be there for about 18 months during the course of this construction project. They're going to be great hosts. We've been working with them in terms of getting set up and the technology set up and everything else.
Now, the whole campus setup over there is great.
Yes,
I've been
it
there a
is.
number of times for basketball games for the kids in the family.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, good.
Yeah. So, describe to me in terms of Brighton being unique and enjoyable. We've covered a few of the things, but give me some more input on that. I mean, we're close to amenities. We've got a really close-knit community. We only have about 37,000 people, which
Right.
makes it really kind of unique in and of itself.
37, it's a great size. I think it's, in terms of a community, it's sort of in the sweet spot. We talked about what great staff we have here. We're big enough that we can hire professionals. Our finance people are accountants. Our police are obviously highly trained, have all the accreditations. But we're small enough that our people have first names. We're small enough that we have individual neighborhoods of different styles, different vintages, You just look around this part of town, you have some classic, the Homeacres neighborhood, the Meadowbrook neighborhood, the Roselawn neighborhood. These are cohesive communities. But when I say cohesive, that doesn't mean homogeneous, because Brighton is a very diverse community. We are the most diverse suburb in the Rochester area. We were talking earlier, when you look out the window here at Town Hall, you see that. You see our Jewish neighbors, our black neighbors, our Muslim neighbors, our synagogue, a park, all right here in immediate proximity. And that is what Brighton is all about throughout the community. So one of the things I've found over the years is that when people are looking for that kind of a diverse community, Brighton is always the place that rises to the top, because people, you don't, as a Muslim family, you don't have to worry that your daughter is going to be the only child in school wearing a hijab. You don't have to worry that your child is going to have to take the high holy days off if they're Jewish. The school district here, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, those are days off here in Brighton. So not only is it a diverse community, but we celebrate, we respect that. That's part of what makes Brighton special. We just celebrated, we're in the midst of Hispanic Heritage Month as we're taping this. We had a great celebration here on Friday, here in the office, celebrating some of our Hispanic leaders in the Brighton community. That's what makes Brighton special. I think that's what makes Brighton unique in this area. It's a place where we have that diversity, and yet it's in one big hug, if you will.
I love that. We should put the Statue of Liberty in the middle of the Brighton Square. This is one of the best places to live in New York State.
Yes.
14618 was listed as the hottest zip code in America in 2022.
Yes.
That's a pretty huge accolade there.
It sure is. I remember when the news of that broke. I mean, I was so excited to hear that, so excited that this community was recognized. And again, part of that is a function of the greater Rochester community as a whole, because this is a very attractive, not only real estate market, but a place to live, a place to raise a family. But within that, Brighton is very, very special. The caliber of the schools. The Brighton schools have been rated as among the best, not only in the state, but in the country over the years. It's a school district where families are engaged in the school building activities. The academics are absolutely second to none. And the football team's undefeated. What more could you want?
You could not possibly ask for anything more.
So, we hear that. People come to Brighton so they can go to great schools. It's a safe community. The police department in Brighton is absolutely second to none. There is no finer law enforcement agency in the state of New York than the Brighton Police Department. They engage with the community. Community policing isn't just a slogan. It's a watchword. They walk the talk. We have a couple of police officers who have a plot in the town's community garden. We have a community police academy where members of the community can come in an 8-week, 8 evenings, and learn not only about the Brighton Police Department, but the whole criminal justice system, the public defender and the DA's office, and ride along in police vehicles, that sort of thing. But they are pros. They're accredited. All of our senior staff in the police department have been through national training down at Quantico. They are the best. And that, of course, is a great amenity. When you live in this community, you can feel safe because we have the police department. But again, I go back to the neighborhoods. People don't just hide behind their doors. People are out. People have neighborhood block parties. The fire department comes. The police cars come. You know, kids ride in the, you know, they get up in the cab. They get to meet the
feel.
officers, and so do their parents. And that's a great advantage.
From a real estate point of view, I have to say that definitely all of this is happening within Brighton itself. And it's the community atmosphere, it's all the amenities that Brighton has to offer. It's the sidewalks that people are longing for to be able to get out and, you know, walk their dog or push their strollers or just walk about and meet their neighbors is what creates the demand for folks who are looking to either come in from out of state or come in from just outside the city into the Brighton area, or just make a change within the community itself, Monroe County itself, and move into Brighton. But because the demand is so high, the supply is so low, which says, again, gives credit to what's happening here in Brighton. Your values within your homes rise. It's not like you have to worry about whether or not your values are going to collapse. They are not, because demand is always going to be high coming into this market.
Yeah.
It's just that being able to get the supply to them, because no one ever wants to leave.
No, that's very, very true. People don't want to leave. And, you know, in some communities, you know, that are, you know, you might have great schools, but then when your kids are finished with school, they leave. That doesn't happen here.
Right.
And I think that really is because of the amenities. You talk about the sidewalks, and we keep building out our sidewalk network. The county has a new sidewalk grant program that we just received grants to build more sidewalks along our county roads. Our trails. I'm a walker, and we have the trailhead for one of our really signature trails, the Brickyard Trail, right here, practically across the street from Town Hall. It's a trail that runs through about a 70-acre parcel of land that has woodlot, it has a pond, it has wetland. The wildlife is not to be believed. And people are out there. They walk, they exercise, physical health, mental health. And one of the things I've learned, because I'll admit, I'm a regular on that trail. Check out my Facebook page. I'm always posting, you know, nature pictures. You know, you think of deer, foxes maybe. We have mink out there on the trail.
I did not know this.
We have all sorts of pileated woodpeckers and great blue herons, and just, it's a wonderful spot to see nature right here in the heart of town. But one of the things I learned, and we opened that trail in 2016, trails don't just connect places, they connect people. And the trails here in Brighton are a part of the placemaking. The Auburn Trail, which is an old rail line, runs through Brighton and then connects through Pittsford into the Finger Lakes. Our Brickyard Trail here. The Highland Crossing Trail, which was a project that we did as a partnership with the city of Rochester. It connects Empire State College and the new Golisano Institute, goes up into the city to Highland Park, past the Frederick Douglass Square on South Avenue in Highland Park. The Lehigh Valley Trail, another rail trail that starts at the University of Rochester, where it will connect to, again, the trail work the city's working on, and then goes down to the south of here. All of those trails connect people, because when you walk on any of them, you're going to find people just enjoying the beauty, the scenery that's around them, getting their exercise in.
And the easy access.
And the easy access, yeah. They're right there.
So not only the trails, the parks.
The parks.
All of that outside activity as well.
Corbett's Glen. I mean,
right.
Corbett's Glen is the first one I think of.
Right, my backyard.
There you go. It is a jewel. The waterfalls that are there, the glacial formations, and, you know, entering under this old railroad culvert with the creek running through it. It's unique. There is no place like it in town. But over the years, we have been very intentional about adding to our park system. We now have over 500 acres of parks here in the town of Brighton, and that's just town parks in 7 different parks. But there are also big parts of 2 of the county's parks, Ellison Park and Genesee Valley Park, that are in Brighton. Miles and miles of trails, and of course the one I didn't even mention, the Erie Canal Trail.
Right.
The Erie Canal runs through Brighton, and to be able to walk along the canal and connect with history, it is really special.
So I know that many people have no idea that all of these things exist, and all you have to do is walk out your door, get onto a sidewalk, and walk to the trail,
Yeah.
or walk to the park, or go and enjoy all of these things. And
Or
at the
walk.
same time, you're surrounded by all of the necessities of life.
I was just going to get to that,
Okay.
because while you're out
Medical
walking,
and
you can walk to your salon. You can walk to a Thai restaurant, a Korean restaurant, a Puerto Rican restaurant. All sorts of different restaurants, supermarkets are all right here in the heart of Brighton. And people walk to them, they ride their bikes. You know, our streets are being made more bicycle friendly. We want to see people out on the street. Again, sustainability, but it's public health. You know, the more we walk, the more we ride our bikes, the healthier we are, I think, both in body and in mind. Yeah, absolutely.
and soul.
And soul.
And soul. So farmers market. Tell me about this little local treasure.
It's no little local treasure. It is it is really special. I think it is the largest farmers market other than the Rochester public market. But what really sets it apart is that it is locally driven. All of the vendors and all of the items that are sold are grown or produced right here in the immediate, within a 50-mile radius of Brighton. That's right in the bylaws of the market. The committee and the market manager will only accept you as a vendor in the market if you commit to selling that locally produced. And it has become, again, yes, it's a farmer's market and you can buy things, but it is a place where community
Gathering.
comes together. And every week I run into people who've never been to the market before and they are learning about it and saying, wow, we've never seen anything like this. So kudos, our market manager, with a perfect name, Sue Gardner-Smith,
I love that.
is our market manager. She's the only market manager we've ever had. The market is 17 years old, and under her leadership, it has gotten better and better and better every year. A few years ago, we made it a 12-month out of the year market. We have, and in fact, last year, we opened our new winter location in a repurposed and expanded barn in Buckland Park on Westfall Road.
See, another tidbit I didn't know.
Yes, well, a great job of renovating. You know, people who've been here for a while remember when the cows were along Westfall Road. There was a series of farms there. The farms are gone, but some of the farm buildings remain. So that our new winter market home is a barn. We expanded it. The silo is still there. It's just iconic. You know that you're on agricultural land. And if you look back at the history of Brighton, Brighton is 220 years old, formally as a town. But if you go back to the 19th century, there were really 2 things going on here. You had farming. It was an agricultural town. The industry was brick making because we're located on clay. The reason we have this trail and this beautiful area across the street, once upon a time, it was dredged, mined for the clay that went up to Monroe Avenue into old brickyards that were there. Now, the brickyards have been gone since 1918, but the legacy of those beautiful old historic brick homes is still there. And the oldest one is the Buckland House, named after Amos Buckland, one of the old 19th century leaders here in Brighton. And it is the oldest house in Brighton made with bricks made here in Brighton.
Wow.
So that legacy, we celebrate that. Historic Brighton are celebrating their 25th anniversary this year. And they put out a newsletter quarterly. And you talk about learning things. Well, I learned things reading that newsletter. I grew up in an old historic home in Michigan where I grew up. So to be able to see and learn about the history of this community is just fascinating.
And the Stone Tolan House?
The Stone Tolan House
Give us history on that.
That is the oldest standing home in Monroe County. It dates back to about 1790. But it wasn't a home back then. It was a tavern.
Of course.
It was the Orange Stone Tavern. And in that tavern, in 1805, the first meeting of the Brighton Town Board, when Brighton was first established as a town, the town board met in Mr. Stone's Tavern. So it is a historic site. It's open to the public. You can see some of the old furniture and other utensils that you would find in a home of that era. It's owned by the Landmark Society, which is an organization that keeps history alive, not just in Brighton, but throughout Monroe County. But the Stone Tolan House is a real special place.
So the overall cost of living in Brighton, housing, food, childcare, transportation, healthcare, taxes, and other necessities, better than other New Yorkers and better than the U.S. average by over 25%.
Yes.
Well,
the Rochester area is an affordable area in general. But to get the kind of amenities you get in Brighton on top of all that, it is a great thing. It's no wonder it's hard to find a home in Brighton.
Right.
Because people do want to live here. People want to move here. They want to stay here. So, yes, affordability is important for people. And I think Brighton gives you the best of both worlds. We have houses at every price point right here in Brighton. And one of the other things, I go back, the diversity of the community is very important. And affordable housing is important. It is important that a community be affordable, reachable for everyone. And so that's one of our goals as we do our land use planning, as we do our comprehensive planning, which incorporates not only traditional land use, but the sustainability principles, but also equity. That's important. That's really that fits with the psyche of this community.
There's some new activity and things going on as far as the reserve.
Yes, the reserve was a development. It was the vision of a real visionary, Anthony Costello. Sadly, he passed away before the reserve project could be completed. But it's right along the Erie Canal. It's been rejuvenated. There are builders building new homes in there again. The clubhouse is a great amenity for people that live there. And it's helping us, frankly, meet some of that demand of people who want to live in Brighton. So we're excited to see that project finish up. That's the largest residential development in Brighton in quite a number of years. So
we're excited to see that finish up as
I
well.
bet you are.
In terms of real estate. So tell me about Topgolf coming to
more
City.
people.
This sounds so fun.
Oh, more people are asking me about Topgolf than anything else. Golfers and non-golfers. I first heard about Topgolf maybe a year or so before they first approached the town. A friend of mine who absolutely doesn't play golf, but she had gone to a wedding out on the West Coast, And the bachelorette party was at the San Jose Topgolf. She had a blast. It's a fun place for golfers and non-golfers. It's not just golf. It's, food, beverages. But people use it for gatherings, for corporate team building exercises, for bachelorette parties. The developers of it have indicated that they plan on making it available to the golf teams and other youth organizations
that's great.
during the day. So, I'm expecting them to be another great, citizen of the community. They're the closest top golf facilities now are in Cleveland and Pittsburgh. The only other one in New York State is on Long Island.
Wow.
So this is going to be a destination. People are going to come, I think, from all, throughout upstate New York. But it's also a place that people who are visiting the Rochester area for any number of reasons, whether it's because there's, they have a child at one of our many colleges and universities, or they're here visiting family or friends, or they want to see one of our great museums. But Topgolf is one more thing. Take the family, come check out what I am sure is really going to be a fun place. And, they are going to be, of course, supporting the tax base of our community. And,
always important.
And it sure is. And bringing in new commercial development is something we have seen here in Brighton. The Whole Foods project being probably the best known example. Whole Foods opened their first store in the Rochester area, and still their only store in the Rochester area last year, right on Monroe Avenue, in a plaza. They have been a catalyst. Every storefront in that plaza, it's 100% occupied. Across the street, there's been new development, new retail and restaurants going in there. As part of the project, they paid for the right-of-way and built the trail, the Auburn Trail, and a rail-to-trail facility that allows not only recreation, but thousands of people can now just walk to Whole Foods and to the other stores there, local and national retailers and restaurants that are in there. So we're really working on continuing to build a good mix of family businesses, larger businesses, and the great residential neighborhoods that we've long been.
Well, it certainly sounds as though, certainly no one here is just sitting back and just waiting for things to happen.
No.
You are actively out there making them happen.
And I love Brighton. Part of my job is cheerleader in chief for Brighton. But I do because this is a great community. And we're always working, not just me, our whole team here in Town Hall, to make it a better place, to identify amenities, to identify the ways that we can make Brighton the place that people want to, as we like to say, live, work, and raise a family.
Right, which is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Again, relating back to real estate. So, Supervisor Moehle, as we come to our end together here, is there anything else that you need to expound on or enlighten me on in terms of what's happening here in Brighton?
Well, I think I've talked about, so many of the things that we, spend our time working on. Education is such an important part of who we are as a community. And it's education at all levels. Not only do we have our great K through 12 school districts here, the Brighton district, but there are 4 other districts that have a portion of Brighton in them. But I've talked about Empire State University, but we have Monroe Community College, one of the finest community colleges you'll ever find. Both the University of Rochester and Rochester Institute of Technology, a portion of their campuses are in Brighton. And that has a spin-off effect. The faculty, the senior staff who work at the U of R, who work at MCC, who work at RIT, many of them live in Brighton. We talk about the diversity. RIT is along with Gallaudet College in Washington, D.C., the leading college university level school for the deaf. And part of being accessible to the community, we have a significant deaf community here in Brighton because of our proximity to RIT. We have ASL sign language interpreters at all of our town board meetings. We caption our live stream on the YouTube when we broadcast those meetings. Every way we can, we make Brighton a place that is accessible and home, welcoming, celebrating to everyone, and it works.
It definitely works. So I want to thank you very much, Supervisor Moehle, for allowing us in today, and your wonderful staff.
Thank you.
For allowing us to put this all together. I know it was extremely enlightening for myself and everyone else who's going to end up seeing this podcast with us today.
Well, it's been fun for me. I appreciate you reaching out and giving us a chance to tell the story.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd like to thank you for that. So this is Marcia Glenn for On the Go with the Glenn Advantage team. We hope that you end up looking to find us under all of your podcast searches. Please go to also glenadvantageteam.com. You can visit us on the website. And I know that, I hope that Supervisor Moehle will be sharing our podcast with the rest of the world as well.
Absolutely.
As you can reach out.
And since we're talking about, the internet and social media, by all means, look for the Town of Brighton, our webpage, our Facebook, many Facebooks, our police department, our recreation, the town. We use all the means we can to try to communicate and be as open and transparent a community as we can be.
So there's never going to be a reason not to find Town of Brighton or the Glenn Advantage team, On the Go with the Glenn Advantage team. I thank you very much for being with us today.
Marcia.
And remember all, please allow the Glenn Advantage team to become your advantage in the marketplace.